Hey, what's going on, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I think my voice should be a little better now. It was bad yesterday morning, so it's been probably like 20 hours or something since I did a video. Who knows? But yeah, I don't honestly know what I'm going to say most of the time. You guys know that this is a therapy session, and it's been a lot of good energy, focused energy on my work and recovery with the workout. And yesterday was a good day for art. You know, I made about 20 pieces. Hadn't had a day like that in about a week and a half or so. So that was pretty good. Some of the pieces are getting more full, I guess you could say. I ain't gonna sit up here and say that my art is great or anything like that, but you could see more cohesive, centered, I guess you could say, artwork. You know, it looks a bit more polished, I guess you could say. So I just crossed the 5,000 mark about a week ago. So that was a huge benchmark for me in regards to how many pieces I've done. And, I'm just working on the craft itself. I'm not really married to anything that I've already done. Obviously, I kept all of it and have digital photos, but I share it once and just keep it pushing. But, yeah, so that's what I've been enjoying as well. I'm in a bit of a sore kind of week because, as I was telling you guys, when you work certain parts of your body that's never had muscles, what it does is, I'm finding, is it can throw your whole entire equilibrium off in a way. Not necessarily your equilibrium. I think I'm wording it the wrong way, but because I'm putting muscle on my left shoulder and chest, what it's now doing is giving me a deeper stretch in my right leg, right? So those type of things are affecting like overall soreness. Muscles are hurting differently because there's more weight being put on certain parts. So like now my shoulder is pulling my leg harder. Now my body has to account for the weight difference and shift. You know what I mean? So it's been a real adjustment, coupling that with the energy loss because I've been pushing so hard over the last couple of days. So rest and recovery has been a little tricky with this adjustment. But what I'm finding is that, I'm starting to look very different. You know what I mean? Like my chest, when you work your chest in certain areas, it starts to almost deflate. So now I'm looking at my left chest and it looks like it's sagging down. So there's just a lot of work to be done, but I'm putting in that work. That's the point in reinventing my body. So the key is to not stop. You know what I mean? The key is to just keep the push forward and keep the motivation forward. And of course, you guys know the motivation here has been God, basically, putting my energy into a centered higher power and then asking for motivation and proceeding to allow that motivation to kind of fuel my consciousness as I go about my day. I don't allow myself any excuses. You know what I mean? If you're doing it for the Lord, you're doing it no matter what. So if you're tired, you're getting up. You're more likely to listen to that inner voice. And as I was telling you guys in a previous video, as I continue to pray more and more, it gets easier and easier to allow that voice to coach me throughout the day. And that's kind of what led me to this here right now. And you guys know I'm a strange guy, so I'm just gonna tell you guys the truth. But I was sitting here listening to music, getting ready to work on a playlist, and I had just completed the editing process of getting music off of one playlist and kind of getting enough of it to just work with. I edited all the songs I'm not gonna use, and I got my pile that I am, and I smoked my little weed and all that stuff, and I was getting ready to make the playlist, and I just said, you know what, let me just take these headphones off and just sit in silence and do a little meditation just to make sure that my energy is right as I create, make sure that, I'm centered and appreciative of what it is I'm doing and just everything, just to make sure that my the vibes are right. And, I went into my little meditative space and it prompted me to turn on the camera. I started thinking about a few things that I wanted to share with the camera that I hadn't, and it was something I felt I should do before working on the playlist. So here I am, listening to that voice inside, that inner coach telling me to turn on the camera and let it fly. And what comes to mind is, of course, everything we've already said, and also, one of the things I was thinking was a few days ago. a few days ago. It might have been 6 days ago in the shower as I was doing my regular prayer routine. After I'd finished saying all of my affirmations and everything I always say, I left an extra moment and I said, Lord, is there anything you want me to pray for? And he said, the country of France. And I was like, the country of France? The hell? And now, mind you, I don't know nothing about nothing as it pertains to what's going on in France this month. I don't know, right? It's huge, though. That's the thing. But I was not aware of what it was or that it was happening this month, let alone this week. So I'm praying. And I don't know what I'm referring to as Paris Fashion Week. Can't speak. Paris Fashion Week is this week. I didn't freaking know that. But the Lord put it in my heart to pray for this country. So I'm sitting there in my mindset and prayer zone and all that for a good extra 3 or 4 minutes, I guess, praying for this random country in my head because it was just inserted in my mind. I would say by the Lord. You might say just at random, my creativity. But the point was, is that came to me. And all of a sudden, this is the case. And mind you, I tell you, I'm wow, my voice wants to go away now. Excuse me, someone who should probably drink some water. But I'm also someone who prays a lot, and I have a prayer list that I talk about all the time. And obviously, when you pray for people, you don't know where they're gonna be in life. You don't know what they got going on this week. But I realize that aside from the water I'm gonna drink, that a lot of the people that I pray for who are celebrities are gonna be in France this week. It's crazy how that works. Let me drink this water and finish that thought. Yeah, unfiltered here for sure. But that was the case, man. Like, several other people that I pray for regularly are gonna be there this week. It's crazy, man. And I did not know that. I really, genuinely did not know that. But because I had prayed for all those people in that moment, I guess if I'm to believe that a living God was speaking to me, I guess he wanted me to know that, like, several of the people that you pray for are going to be in that country right now. So I want you to just lend your prayer to that place. Simply put. And like, I know as I say this in the camera, it's like, yeah, right. And that's fine. That's literally fine, because I should have got on this camera beforehand and told people about that France incident, but I guess it just wasn't meant for me to confirm such a thing beforehand on camera. But it is the case. I actually had that happen, and all it did really for me was reaffirm that I'm on the right track as it pertains to listening to that voice and praying to the source that I do. He continues to allow me to tap into different things like that at absolute random. And the fact that I gave my prayer an extra moment to request something from the source, as I always say, gifts of a divine nature of his choosing. This is what I decided to provide in prayers, just because I'm like, Lord, I don't know what's out there. But if I knew about it, I'd pray about it, especially if it's involving the people that I pray for regularly. If there's a place where they're going to be, or if there's something, you know what I mean? I always try to lend my best to it, whatever my imagination could pray. I try to lend my best to it. So where my mind goes is like, if I knew where people would be before they get there in prayer, I would try to like pray that the angels would be there, whatever I could do, to provide the best of energy for the place they would arrive to. And the Lord basically allowed me to do that. So it's very strange. I looked up and I saw one of the people that I pray for, Coily Ray. She's in Paris, you know what I mean, taking all kinds of elaborate photos and stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, look at God, man. And I didn't even know. I had said her name 3 minutes before I started praying for the place she was going to be going to. And likely more. Several others on the list probably there too. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them, like I said, are celebrities, and this is a big week for celebrities. So naturally, they're just going to be there. It's like Met Gala. They're just going to be there. So the Lord told me to pray for that place. So what I'm saying to you is, we should too. I don't know what's going on this week. Hopefully nothing. Because of just the fact that the prayers have been prayed already. But you know what I mean? We love to share the strangeness of our prayers, because at the end of the day, this is a therapy session. So if people want to write it off as crazy, it's absolutely acceptable. And I think that that's this lane I've created for myself. It's a place where it disarms the lack of ears for what the conversation would be. You're gonna watch because you think I'm nuts, or you're gonna watch because you think there's merit to it. You're gonna watch because you're just curious to see what I'm gonna say next. You're gonna watch because you think I'm an idiot. But the one thing's for sure, there's no reason to look away if for the sake of me saying there's a God, or because I'm saying I'm praying. You see what I'm saying? And I think that's what it's all about for me. That's why it's a therapy session. That's why I'm a self-proclaimed person that has mental health issues, because at the end of the day, I understand that what I say is literally crazy. But what I'm finding is that there's also science to it. There's loops that don't have anything to do with my consciousness that comes back to me to reconfirm certain things. And this France thing is yet another one. It's yet another one. As I've been telling you guys, I've been trying to prove a living God. And the flaw of this thing is me not coming to you guys right after that shower and telling you exactly what had happened there. But then again, you would probably just think I already knew Paris Fashion Week was coming up just like everybody else. But the point is, the skepticism is in place for a reason. It's because faith needs to be applied. I can't prove what I've found. That's the point. The more I try to prove that God exists, the more I realize there's always room to leave room that he may not exist. Just the same, it's always a need to believe in what it is you cannot prove that gives you the perfection of the math that he provides. It requires that you provide the variable that isn't there, which is your faith, your belief. And so as I continue to try to confirm, he gives me just enough to give him not enough at all. That's the beauty of it. It's like I have to apply faith in order to get it, as I speak in a loop. So I believe that works for everybody, man. I think the more you try to find God, he'll give you just enough to believe that it's right to believe, but not enough to confirm. It's just how it has to be. Everybody has to believe to a degree without actually having that confirmation. You got to have the faith. You got to apply something. You got to go out on that limb with God, because he's always going out on a limb with us. I think that's the math of it. It's like he's always providing us the faith that we'll go out onto his earth and do right or do wrong. But whatever the case may be, he's trusting us with life. He's given us the spark of consciousness to experience life. And if we apply that faith, we might be able to manage life or even be able to manifest things properly. But if we do too much or too little and lose that balance, we end up getting ourselves in trouble. We end up finding ourselves in traps. We end up being destroyed or what have you, destroying others, destroying our reputations, our legacies, that of our family name, and etc. Watch people making mistakes, man. This is another place I guess the Lord wants me to go. 21. What the hell are you doing, brother? 21 Savage. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it looks so many different ways to me. So many different ways to me. This is a million different things that come to mind. Half of them I don't feel comfortable saying on camera, but what I can say is we're in a space where it means more to uphold a culture of war amongst ourselves in a place where we've been enslaved by people that didn't look nothing like us. But it means more to us to uphold the culture of war. And I don't know if my soul tells me that it's something that we can think our way out of, which is what we're being told we need to do. And that's what bothers my soul so much when I listen to that brother say what he had to say, because he knew that not only was it likely that this was going to go viral, but that it's also likely going to come down as an indictment that's going to have him in jail for the rest of his life. So that's why I say I'm not comfortable saying this on camera, because I'm like, if I know he knows that, then what is he doing? What is he doing? I'm so sad for 21 Savage. Just like I'm sad for Gunna, just like I'm sad for 6ix9ine. Because all these dudes are putting themselves out there in ways that are not safe, bro. Not at all safe. And that's what the spirit of this is. It's not safe. You're toying with people's pain. You're toying with revenge. You're toying with long time of hard jail time for yourself and others. And they're just promoting it like it's funny. Like the man behind the mirror is just pouring his dollars into its marketing scheme like it's some type of We Are the World trip. And it's like I'm not supposed to see that is the thing that keeps people like 21 upholding the culture of war. While they sit there and rub their hands making money, acting like they ain't the real enemies. They know we ain't never gonna shoot at them. Have you ever seen Demolition Man? Don't you have a job to do? Don't you have someone to kill? Do y'all remember that movie? When he was pointing the gun, when Wesley Snipes was pointing the gun at Raymond Cocteau and he couldn't pull the trigger, and he kept squeezing his finger on the trigger, he couldn't kill him. He could not pull the trigger because his mind was controlled in such a way that would not allow him to do so. He couldn't. He knew who his enemy was, but his mind was warped in such a way that made it so that he didn't shoot at his enemy. But he for sure shoot at good people. He for sure keep up the wars that was in his heart. But when it came down to him trying to warp his way through the madness that helped him see that it wasn't actually him upholding his nonsense in that moment, but the overall man, so to speak, who was behind the curtain that he couldn't kill but wanted to so desperately, if not for some warped ass thought in his mind, that movie was a pure and utter metaphor for what it is that Black America has been dealing with for a very long time. We know who our enemy are, but we got our guns pointed at other people. But we mad at the enemy, but we just can't fight them. But we can for sure indict ourselves with the confidence in our heart and kill our brothers and our sisters and brag about murdering them, knowing it's going to get me, my brother, everybody else locked up. But it's to uphold the truth that we are that dangerous amongst ourselves when we ain't even each other's enemy. And deep down in our hearts, we know it, but we can't turn that shit off. Pointing the gun, the only person we can kill is us. And so when I hear people say, black people need to change, I'm like, but they're pouring marketing dollars into subconscious thoughts that put this in our heads and make us uphold it. We uphold this shit, bro. We spin the block on every song. So while I'm trying to figure out how not to, I got to protect myself from the fact that someone else is. And they don't take that into account. These are revenge. See, all this is revenge. The other situation, revenge. This man's situation, revenge. Everything going outside is just a revolving door of I can't forgive you because I'm hurting, I'm killing. And then it becomes an evil that people forget. I don't even know half of them. Whatever it is, it just keeps them in that space. And then the man just sit back rubbing his hands. Don't you got a job to do? Don't you got someone to kill? Y'all gotta see the Demolition Man if you haven't seen it, man. Sylvester Stallone movie. Go see that. And understand what it is that I'm trying to express. We know who our enemy is. They're investing in the mind control. We are now holding ourselves accountable for stopping it while the stuff is still being bombarded on our brains. And then when we want to hold people accountable, we hold each other accountable. The best of us keep on looking at each other. Even when we want to stop the war, you don't see that you're pointing that gun at your brother. Look at it. The first thing you want to do in regards to stopping the crime is getting your brother thrown away in jail for the rest of his life. It's still the same thing. Erase him from the earth. Entrap his mind in the ground or in a cage is still entrapping his mind. Feed him to the same people. Don't you get it? When we sit up here and get online and say, try to solve the cases, for who? The environment's controlled by them. And I cannot stress it enough. We are not oblivious to this. We just can't figure our minds out in this regard. They got us. We're listening to them tell us who we are. They invest in the nonsense, and then from there, they also invest in solutions. They're the same ones. It's Nicorette gum, nicotine. It's the same thing, yo. We're seeing it in all the publications. And it's sad, yo. Because people are warped. They don't see it. They're blind. They're being punished on both sides. On one side, they invest in the war. On the other side, they invest in the court. And we sitting there just, either we're shooting guns or we're shooting our mouths off. Either way, we're killing our brothers and allowing them to get off scot-free, Raymond Cocteau style. And the Lord put me on this earth to help us all see it. I don't trust none of these publications. When they open their mouths to tell me about anybody, I don't trust them.
They told me everything I needed to know with Kanye West and Kyrie Irving now. Anything that comes out of their mouth, I'm looking at sideways. The Melu Trevejo situation, they say she a bully now. I can't trust it. Maybe she is. I can't trust it because of where it's coming from. I think they may have an agenda. Maybe she didn't want to sign with them or something. Now they want to tear the girl down. I don't know. Maybe she is an asshole. Maybe they use that against her. I don't know. Instead of getting her some help, I don't know. But what I do know is we talk about mental health in some areas. Then when it comes to certain things, we just listen to people tell us who people are. No, I ain't that type of crazy. That brother, that evil brother who shot that girl in that car, the basketball player, did you see him getting arrested? What was coming out of his mouth? Some incoherent I love you stuff, right? Mental health. That boy snapped. He did. Are they painting the picture that he snapped? No. They were telling you that he walked up to the car as a sane individual, was trying to talk to somebody, shot her. Insane and healthy mind, and we hold him accountable from that standpoint. No, that man was crazy. Did you see him as he was walking away in his handcuffs? He wasn't with us. That was nuts. Demonic, possessed energy. Takes me to my next thought. Possessed energy. Now, this one's kind of weird for me. Jaguar Wright. I don't know what she's up to, man, as it pertains to her spirit. I don't know. But from what I understand, she was in a space of great, deep pain. And in a fit of rage, I was made aware that she really had a bad situation where she got arrested. It was said that she had taken her son's ashes, rest in peace to his soul, and threw those ashes on her ex-husband, public. I believe it was at his place of business. Now, this is a situation where as I saw the camera, I thought a million things. One thing I'm thinking is, boy, she's been through the worst of things, and she's been pushing out a lot of attacking energy at some very, very powerful people. That's what I know. She's been swinging at some heavy hitters in some very, very interesting ways. And so when you see somebody snap like this, you wonder if they've been slipped something. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. That's what comes to mind for me. But I also know she's been dealing with her mental health since the passing of her son. It was a very tragic and violent situation. She did not feel like justice came her way, and I don't know that she ever found that. So she's been living with that pain, and I give her, her pass for that. That ain't something I try to fathom in any way. I just react and I see that that's too much for a lot of people. So if they don't ever make a good decision after that, it just is what it is. You understand what I'm saying? But that's a very talented person. She's made a lot of great music over the years, and I don't think she's got a lot of her props. I think we've talked about her on this camera before, but this is why this is relevant, prompted me to pray for someone else. Yes, she did. It was very strange. I might have talked about it when it happened, I might not have. But she had a situation where she went on Tasha K's show. Tasha K, the same lady, got into it with Cardi B. And that whole situation was really, really, really different. But this was way before that. Or in the midst of that, I guess you can say. Yeah, more so. But, excuse me. She got on there, she had a situation, and I just felt like Tasha K, this was my first time experiencing Tasha K as I'm watching this interview. I thought she was really, I didn't like her energy toward Jaguar Wright. Okay? And then I learned of Tasha K's story and what she had been through. And how she too had something tragic take place that kind of fuels her. And then it prompted me to start praying for her. All right? I started praying for Tasha K back then. So Tasha's on the list. Keep that in mind for whatever it's worth. So as we move forward, and I look at Jaguar Wright's situation, I'm like, wow, I like Jaguar Wright. And I thought she was treated in a way that I didn't appreciate. I thought Tasha's energy was off, but Jaguar I kept paying attention to. But she moved on, all right? She just moved on, and I think she disappeared for a little while, kind of went off the grid after a little bit of that, and then started re-emerging and just doing controversial things. You know what I mean? More or less, as I said, swinging at very powerful people in very interesting ways, saying that she remembers things about the past in regards to certain artists, executives, things like that. You know, not painting them in the very, very, very good light in some situations, if not most situations, in a very entertaining way, if I may say. And so as she started to reemerge, She's been doing this lately with Jay-Z, throwing a whole lot of smoke at Rock Nation. She does not like Rock Nation, blah, 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 and all of that is heavy on her heart these days. And Jay has been on my list for the last 6 months. Been praying for the Carters for a while now. So, it's like, okay, that's 2 people she has bad energy with that I happen to pray for. But it wasn't because I had any bad energy with her. I actually liked her a lot. And those people, Jay, I don't know what he's on. And Tasha, I didn't pray for her because she had good energy. So it's very strange, right? It's very strange because I've always been on Jaguar's side. Still am. But she's warring with people I'm praying for. So it's really, really interesting. As I'm watching this, I'm just hoping and praying for more mercy for everybody, right? I haven't prayed for Jaguar, though. That's unfortunate for me. On my end, I need to do better. But nevertheless, this is what's going on. And as I watch her, as if she's going through what she's going through, and now she's taking ashes of her son, and whatever that is, I'm telling you, it's demonic. Even if she's doing it for clout, even if that ain't her son's ashes, the motioning of doing so ain't of God. It's not good energy. Not Tasha, excuse me. I'm saying Tasha for no reason. But Jaguar, I believe, was possessed by something. I believe that. I believe she is dealing with some demonic energy of some sort. It's at war with God. That's what I'm here to tell you. I don't know if it's drugs. I don't know if it's because of grief. I don't know what it is. But that's something deep, and she needs it out of her. So I apologize to all of you for telling the truth. I ain't prayed for that lady, and I should have. That's on me. But at the end of the day, I think I will add her to that list. I think I'll ask the Lord to allow me to do that now, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about, man. Not leaving people, out there to say, yo, they evil and that's it. No, this is a war. Like, if you're a praying person, you believe in God, then you understand he's trying to convert just like the devil is. So if you see he got one, if you're a praying person and you believe like I believe, maybe it's a good thing to send some good energy their way instead of the condemning energy that we're trained to send each other. Because at the end of the day, when I look at my own heart, I'm always asking him to change some things. I'm always asking him to make some things better or take away some things that make me susceptible to evils or what have you. So if I can look inward and still see flaws in that regard, then if I see somebody else who may be a little more or a little less flawed, who am I to judge? And most importantly, who am I to refrain from providing them at least some requests for mercy? You know what I mean? Especially when you know how the wrath of the Lord can actually be. So that's how it is for me. I don't want her to continue to be in a space of darkness because of her bereavement. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because of what she went through in regards to losing her son, it should not turn her spirit into someone that she can't manage. And I think that that's what grief did to me, which is why this is so very relevant in my therapy session, because it turned me into someone I could not manage. Even now, I'm still in a space that's a great deal of a hole for myself. And it started and stemmed with not handling my grief properly without turning to the Lord sooner. You know what I mean? And staying with him continuously throughout that process. I turned to the Lord when my mother was losing, going through the battle to help cope. But once she lost that battle, I kind of just broke, you know what I mean? And even though I prayed a little bit here and there, my spirit was dark. It was. And I tried to believe that I was doing right, but I didn't believe that engaging in the right energy was right for me. You know what I mean? And for a long time, I was getting the wrong results because of it. And until I started changing my spirit, that's when I started, as I said at the beginning, listening to that inner voice that would tell me to let's do good things or turn away from some of those negative thoughts or fight those inner susceptible demons, so to speak, and be better with my time. And as I continue to be prayerful, he would tell me to pray for others. And as I would continue to pray for others, it would get easier to do so. And as I would get even closer within that space, I would have occurrences like France and this. And all it really came from is, Lord, give me strength. Because I was in a space of brokenness. I didn't want to live when I started praying. I wasn't praying for others. I was praying for myself. And it wasn't because I loved myself. It was because I was done with everything. And he brought me to a place where I was saying, you know what? Just give me a little strength, Lord. And then from there, it turned into me praying in the shower every day, to realizing praying for me wasn't enough, to start praying for others. And then it incorporated itself into this big old list that's almost at 300 people plus. And now I can incorporate people on this list from within this channel because of the faith and the path that God has taken me on in regards to this prayer life. So I'm telling you, wherever it's headed, It's getting to a space where now he's starting to insert things in my head that are not even there in regards to things that are about to happen because of how strong this prayer thing has become. Now I can see parallels that I never could see before in my entire life, that I could display and speak to you about in real time. It comes from nothing but the inspiration of prayer and the understanding of what I'm looking at to be perverse and misdirection and chaotic in nature purposefully, for us to be away from God and away from the quest of finding God and finding the strength to pray for others and finding the strength to be strong in our nature, just to use good energy as a means of getting by. We don't have to engage in bad energy and think we're going to find happiness. It's just going to bring us toward torture. And there are a lot of ways they tell us how to do that, or how we've coerced ourselves through culture, are lies. They're literally lies. And they're lies that have been in place for a long time, which is why nobody questions them, but they are not right for us. We need to be healing each other and looking to save each other and fixing our problems so that we can build, so that we can evolve, so that we can do amazing things that we're not capable of right now. But if we keep on chasing the numbers and keep on capping ourselves off every which way as it pertains to what our real objective is because of the short-term gain of whatever little wants you have, you won't pass anything good to your kids but the need to pull themselves out of the hole you dig them in, no different than the spiritual hole our ancestors placed us in when they put black people in chains and took the land from the natives. We need to engage in better energy so that when we take on the brunt of the karma that's coming our way because of what they've done, we don't continue to kick that can down the road when it comes. We'll take our lumps. We'll build together from the energy that we've learned how to put together through the ways that we're speaking about right now and beyond, from people greater than myself, shown us all. We need to be better. We need to think around the stuff that's put in place, and we need to remove that middleman entirely. Stop believing his lies. He is not who you say he is. We are not who he says we are. None of that. We need to understand that this is spiritual warfare, and even that person behind the curtain has something new to learn so that they'll change their ways, just like me. When I asked the Lord to give me strength, and he told me to pray for others instead of myself. Heed what it is I'm telling you, because it don't come from just a space of thinking. I'm telling you, God is in my heart. As I pray to him every day, he tells me that I might not be on the right track, but I'm talking to the right person, so I'll get there eventually, and that's the point. That is the purpose. All of us might not be on the right track. All of us might not have good in our heart. But if you have a desire to not be in torture, then you have what you need to develop what it is that it takes to get your heart into a good place. But if you want to see pain, you keep on that path you on where you engage in the wrong energy. You keep on that path you on where you self-snitching. You keep on that path you on. Because I'm telling you, it leads to the same pain that I found myself in where I was in chaos. Sad because someone left me. My mother left me. Not knowing that God gave her life. He sparked her life. Every bit of the comfort she ever provided me was given to her by him. If I ever need any of that comfort, I can go straight to the source. The one who created her, the one who created me, the one who created you. I don't have to be married to the idea that life and death is going to keep my consciousness whole when none of us are staying. We don't have to let bereavement break us, because everything that ever good came our way came from the same thing, and every bad thing that ever came our way wasn't his. So the pain that we feel when things are returned back to him, it's just us believing our lies that we can keep anything good. It's always returning back to him, just like the water that we drink. It goes up, comes down, it goes up, comes down. Everything's a cycle. We can't keep none of each other. You can't keep me. I got to go to the Lord, and I got to stay there, though. But I'm here right now, and this is what I got for you. So believe in him. Not because I told you to, but because the proof is in yourself. When you desire to not be tortured, when you desire to not have your kids go through any suffering, when you desire to not be stuck in any cage for any length of time, that desire gives you an understanding that can lead. You have to get some things done in order for that to be your truth. And those things are good energy. Those things are prayer. Those things are not being evil, holding yourself accountable, not coercing others into chaos and confusion for your betterment or the betterment of your house. These are things that you don't do because you know it brings you bad energy. It brings you bad energy, and it brings bad energy to that house. But if you bring good energy to your house, not only do you have your house, but you can build others. Houses for many. building is what it's about. So if we're engaging in racism and hatred and low frequency, we're not building nothing. Engaging in folly and nonsense, that lying to each other, telling us we have to do different things in order to accept one another. These are lies. Strip it all down. It's just people in a forest trying to find something to eat. That's all it is. You strip it all down and we will survive. We've done it before. So don't tell me I need this or that or that or this. All I need is you to pray for everybody. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching.